I'm gonna start ask. You guys can start asking questions too. Oh, that's a really fun way to do this. Never thought about that. So I saw Valerian recently with my kids. My daughter loved it. She liked it a lot. I did not like it at all. It's not going to do well. I thought maybe, maybe it's really good and people just don't know about it. No, it's not good. Yeah, it's not very good. I feel bad because like they recognize the concept artists too. They put them front and center on the credits. It's great. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think visually it was exciting. Like I wasn't like in the beginning. I think like those sea people, like the I think they're called the Pearl. Those people, like that whole scene was just so fascinating and so amazing. I almost feel like if Valerian didn't exist and it was just about those people and like their culture, that could have been way it could have been way more interesting. Yeah, I heard Dunkirk is amazing though. Well, I mean, why wouldn't it be? Christopher Nolan is a really good director. I mean, I'm sure he's gonna make some bad movies eventually, but even those bad movies will probably be really good. Kind of like Spielberg. Like Spielberg makes great movies. Like I don't think any of his movies are any bad. Oh, actually, no, I take that back. The the freaking Indiana Jones movie, but I don't know if that's his fault as much as I blame Lucas for that one. But director wise, like Steven Spielberg is pretty unstoppable. But what ends up happening, I think, it's happening to Pixar, for instance, right now, which is they've stopped comparing. They don't look at the movie as a movie anymore. They look at it as a Pixar movie or a Steven Spielberg movie, if that makes sense. So they actually expect it to change their life, not just to be a really good movie. Like Monsters University is a great example with Pixar. Like Monsters University is an extraordinarily good movie, and so is Brave. Brave is really good too. The only one I don't think that was any good was Good Dinosaur, but most of the movies that they made, almost all of them actually, are really good movies. But people are like, oh, Pixar's fallen from grace because they expect every movie when you leave to have changed your life, just like some of their first movies. But that's like, think about that. That's like so hard to do, so challenging to live up to the standard that people have for you. But anyway, I think Spielberg is like that. I think Nolan is like that. I think James Cameron is like that. I think Michael Bay is like that, even though people don't like Michael Bay. It's easy to shit on him, but like he makes good action movies. It's really hard for him not to make a good one. Um, but I think even now he's starting to get sick of his movies. I think that's the difference. Like he himself is just kind of like whatever. It's just a job. Um, Spielberg hasn't made a film in a long time. So Ready Player One or Player One Ready, what is it? Yeah, that looks like it might be really great. But the same thing is happening. There's no, the trailer doesn't tell me enough about the story. So when I don't see that and I'm confused to what it's about, I have a suspicion it might not do so well.
It's about like a kid who, because they're in that like virtual world, he's
Uh,
kind of like an Easter egg hunter. So they're like weird. They're a bunch of like Easter egg hunters. Like I had to look it up on Wikipedia because I've seen the book, but I never was interested in reading it. And I guess he finds this one Easter egg, which like can unlock like another Easter egg that gets this like big prize or whatever.
uh,
So he gets put on like a leaderboard, and so then there's another girl Easter egg who is, I guess, Hunter, who's like the top of the hunting league or whatever. So she's like interested in like him because he found it, and then I guess like the government or some big bad guy
oh
puts
no.
them on his shit list. So then there's like a bounty out for
Everything
him.
you said to me makes me think this movie is not going to do well.
Yeah, that's why when I like looked at it, I was
The
kind of like,
fact that the initial response was I had to go to Wikipedia. I
yeah,
knew we weren't going in the right spot. Think of it like this. Okay, think of a movie that's like really complicated, has a lot of moving parts, like Harry Potter.
right.
But Harry Potter was successful because Harry Potter, the story is about a kid who doesn't fit, and he finally finds a place where he fits. But he does not only does he fit, he happens to be the one to save them all. right?
Mhm.
And he doesn't know if he's like ready to take on that responsibility. That's the story. It's not about wizards. It's not about like candles in the hallway of the class. Who's like touching their mic? Sounds like they're.
Oh,
Not me.
that's me. Sorry.
I don't mind you touching your mic. Just mute your mic while you're doing it, so we don't hear you scratching, DJ. Um, you see my point, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what makes Western, specifically Western audiences, go watch movies. If there's like an actual meaningful story to be told.
Well, I know Red Rising is going to be turned into a movie, and that whole like trilogy, which I guess is supposed to have a fourth, but they put it back a year because they wanted it to be really good. That whole series about like this guy on Mars and how they're terraforming,
Uh-huh.
and so Mars is being terraformed, but there's a whole nother world outside of Mars on other planets, and so the people of Mars are being lied to do their job, to like
Uh-huh.
keep terraforming and work like this dangerous kind of like coal mining. And so then the like main character, kind of his wife dies, and that's like a catalyst to like him wanting to like shut the system down and make it fair for everyone.
Yeah, but
So I
what's
feel
the story?
well, that's
Like
like the
the
story. It's kind
meaningful
of like
story.
the underdog who wants to
So
change everything to make it fair for everyone.
yeah, so there's always an underlying, like there's always a story in most instances. There's a beginning, middle, and end, right?
Hmm.
But what I'm trying to get at is like what really sells is the message, the moral of the story, because that's what resonates in people. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like people don't remember. Like, let me give you a great example of a movie that, again, another great movie, a movie that's legendary. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why that movie is legendary, and I'm gonna tell you the moment when you knew it was legendary. Okay, so The Matrix. Have you seen The Matrix?
Yeah.
I'm sure you liked it, right? Most people did. If you didn't, you're amongst the minority. All right,
No, it's pretty good.
it's pretty amazing. Now, when you're watching the Matrix, right? Now, people on the surface will focus on the idea like the machines have taken over, and we're all like batteries, right? And we're like living in this virtual reality as they drain the energy from us, right? So that's a
Hmm.
cool premise. Great, got it. But the movie is about, internal like judgment, like not believing in yourself, right? Even when there's one person that believes in you, everyone else doubts you. Everyone else is with you. They think you're fucking a fraud. You too think you're a fraud, right? Like you just wanted to know the truth, and people are like, no, like this one guy's like, no, you are the truth, bro. you know. And he's like, no, I don't believe that. Everybody, even like they take you to this oracle, and even the oracle's like, nah, you're straight up not the chosen one, right?
Yeah.
So the whole movie, like the whole time, even the agents, everybody, they compound this idea that you are not worth a piece of anything, right? You're worthless, right? Only one guy believes in you the whole time. And that one guy that believes in you, because he believes in you so much, he sacrificed himself, right? To save your life. So now you're thinking, that's fucked up. I'm not the chosen one, right?
Yeah.
I got to do something about this. And so that has some power behind it, right? So then when he goes to save him, the Morpheus is like, yep, see, told you he's the chosen one. You guys see what he did? Look how he saved me. It was freaking amazing, wasn't it? you know? And even then you're just like, no, dude, I'm not the chosen one. Like I get it. Like I'm pretty dope. I get that. But I'm not like the one that's gonna save us all. There's no way, you know? And there was finally a moment in the movie, right, where he says, you know what, maybe I am. Remember, he doesn't run. He turns around and he's like, you know what? Fuck this, I'm gonna fight the agent, right? In the train station. So they start fighting, and everybody's watching, and everyone's like, oh, what in the world? Like he is the one. Like they're starting to believe. He's starting to believe. But then eventually he gets his ass kicked. He still can't beat an agent. He can't beat the program, right?
Yeah.
So now as an audience, we're just like, oh dude, okay, maybe he's not. But like, we want him to be. We the audience want him to be. They're
Right. It's
really
the
they're
whole
really leading us
underdog
they're
thing.
really leading us to want this, you know?
Yeah.
And the whole movie is like until the very end, right? Like he escapes. He has to run away. He's escaping. He gets to the room. He opens the door, and then what happens? He gets shot. He gets murdered, right? And while this all is happening, the whole of the Sentinel is being like, or the whole of the ship is being ripped apart by Sentinels. Like they found them, and they're like fucking gonna murder them now in any moment. And like Neo's now dead. The look on Morpheus's face is priceless, right? Like he can't believe it. Like it's impossible. You know, us audience members are like, wait, we can't believe this either. You know, like, wait, is this how they're gonna end the movie? If they do, man, I'll be pissed. Yeah, I'm sure that's how it felt, right? And this is all happening. Neil's on the ground, dead, bleeding out. And everyone's just like, oh, this sucks. And then Trinity's like, I didn't believe before, but the Oracle told me something too. She said that I would fall in love with the Chosen One. And so she smacks a kiss on him. Reverse Snow White up in this bitch. Right? Reverse Sleeping Beauty. And then he wakes up, and this is the moment where this movie becomes legend. He gets up, he bends the Matrix, he does some weird shit with his leg, he stops the bullets, right? And we're like, oh, this is so amazing. And then the Agent Smith's like, nah, fuck that. And he starts to fight him, right? And he's blocking it, and it's like, this is easy. I know Kung Fu, right? And he does this really signature move where he turns to the side and he blocks everything with one hand. Like, it's just because it's so fucking easy now. Like, he sees the Matrix. In fact, it's so powerful. I always use that phrase when I talk to my students. I used it already twice in this class, I think, right?
Yeah.
Because we all know what that means. It means that you're starting to understand, right? And that moment makes that movie historical, right? Because they really, really build up to that, and they took it away from you and then gave it back to you, and they gave you more, right? And you're just like, I feel so good. I feel so satisfied, because it builds up to that. Now think about Valerian. What was it building up to? Nothing. That's
Well,
the problem, right? Like, it was cool and there was all these great things, but what? Because they get married or something? They fall
it
in
was
love?
so
Who gives a
predictable
fuck?
too.
Yeah, who gives a fuck? There was no stakes. There was no message. There was no moral that we can latch on to. You understand?
Yeah.
You know why the phrase from Rocky, like Rocky 1, one of the most popular phrases is Adrian, when he screams Adrian, Adrian, right? Why is that iconic? Why do people remember that and know that?
I didn't watch Rocky, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, but you
Sorry.
know, but you at least know what that is, right? Like I just
Yeah,
said
I
that.
know like the
See,
pop culture of it.
yeah. So why is it so ingrained in the pop culture, right? Well, if you watch the movie, which I highly recommend you do, the movie has nothing to do with boxing, right? The movie is very similar to The Matrix. It's about like this boxer. Everyone treats him like shit. Literally, everyone treats him like shit except for one person. Like even his coach, like Mickey, right? Like he treats him like shit. Everybody does. Like I thought, oh, maybe it's gonna be some tough love. No, it's like literal shit treating. It's not tough love at all. Okay, he really treats him like a scumbag, and he comes around to being his coach as a product of like he wants to cash in on some of that profit. He really actually has bad intentions in the beginning. It's only Rocky that converts him to becoming a better person, right?
Yeah.
Adrian's the only person that cares about him. Like she only cares about him. She doesn't care that he's fighting. She doesn't care that he wants this. Like, I mean, she cares that he wants it, but she doesn't care uh, about it to be with him. She wants to be with him because he's the only one that ever gave her attention. You know, he really had a crush on her, and he really wanted to get her. He makes her laugh. The movie is really just a great underdog story built around love, right? Because at the end of the movie, he loses the fight. He doesn't even win. But guess what he does? He starts screaming out to Adrian. And we're like, oh, duh. Because Adrian's the only one that got his back, man. And then like you start tearing up because she's like, Rocky. He's like, Adrian. And it has the music. And it's just
Because
like this
love
beautiful
wins.
moment. Yeah, you're just like, oh, yes. You know? And you can care less that he lost. You only care that he did it. And the only person that he believed in him was there by his side. You know, like he didn't get knocked out in the first round. You know, like he proved to everybody he wasn't a fucking nobody. But the only person he cared about to share that moment with was Adrian. That's why that moment hits. You know.
Hmm.
And that's why, like, when people start describing the premises of movies, I'm just like, right? Like, Toy Story isn't like the premise of Toy Story is about when you leave the room, what the toys do when you leave the room, right?
Yeah.
That's an interesting premise. But Toy Story could have been garbage if that's all they cared about, right? You know?
Yeah.
Um, but the movie's about friendship. It's about like learning what friendship actually means. Friendship doesn't mean that you take all the love from somebody. Friendship means that you're willing to share that love, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no bad guy. There's no like baddie that's like chasing him and antagonist the whole time. The bad guy is Woody's jealousy. I mean, Sid's in there, but he's just he's just an obstacle. He's not like constantly at arms with Woody and Buzz, right?
Right. So it's just a kid who's got like a lot of emotional problems because of his,
Yeah.
childhood.
It's just more of like a funny commentary on that, right? Like, and it's like Sid is no more, he's no more of an obstacle than like when they were at the pizza arcade place, right? He's
Pizza
just
port.
one, yeah,
He's
he's just one other obstacle, right? The
Yeah.
real conflict is Woody's undying jealousy. That's all. And when he finally overcomes his jealousy, that's when things are resolved, right? And the buildup is great, and then the payoff is amazing, you know.
Yeah.
And so, like, like when I see the trailer for like what needs to happen is the third trailer or fourth trailer where they start to show you like this kid, you know, he finds this Easter egg and all this stuff. Like, sure, right? But it's like when they start talking about why it's important to him, why it's a challenge for him to get it, and why people don't want him to have it, right? And how he overcomes that, and what that message is. If it's not, you know, generic, then it could be powerful. Then it could be a great film. Otherwise, it's just gonna pull a Valerian or a Ghost in the Shell or a Blade Runner, you know, which don't
Can I
really
jump
have.
in?
Yeah, go for it.
Because I actually read the book, and I feel like you guys didn't give the movie justice, or just the premise
Well,
of
I
it.
haven't seen the movie, so I'm only
Well, yeah,
basing
and
it
I
off of
just read
just
Wikipedia.
yeah, I literally just saw the trailer, and that's all,
Uh,
and I'm like skeptical.
yeah, yeah. So they probably didn't do a good job of like the showing the trailer, I guess. But the premise of the movie or the story is this guy, like, half the world is like the outside world has gone to like shit, like everything's like wasteland and it's like post-apocalyptic, and the only way people like find joy and like, I guess, like meaning in life is just through this like alternate
Yeah,
reality
I
where
got that from the trailer.
yeah. But the whole reason, like, it's kind of like the reason why he's like hunting for the Easter egg is like, it's like the maker, like the person who made like the VR. He's just like, I set like three Easter eggs, and like, you know, if you can find it, like you'll get all my monies, right, basically. And it's his kind of way to find happiness, and he realizes along the way, like, maybe like, yeah, there's like obstacles to go through, but like he just wants to he's like trying to find the people, like he discovers the people like that are like precious to him, I guess. I don't know if that spoils it a little bit.
Yeah, so now you're leaning towards, again, when you're using world building as a way to tell the story, I get skeptical. But there is a little piece of nugget there that I might spin off of, which is this idea that this kid wants money or a way out. That's a story. Like
Yeah.
that has a moral, right? That's very relative. Like you can relate that to yourself. Like you guys want to have jobs in the industry, right? And I've encouraged that even if you get that job, you might not find happiness, right? So I've been very explicit about this, you know. So this movie could basically teach that, right? It's the Wizard of Oz type of thing, where they think that the wizard's going to give them all that they want, but they've always had it, right? They were already brave, they were already smart, they were already what was the other one? They already had a heart. You know what I mean? It's just that they just had to prove it. They had to be in the circumstances to demonstrate that. You understand? And so, like the if that's the premise of the story, right? That sounds fine. Like that's good. It works in a lot of movies. They just need to compound it. You know, they just got to wrap this VR experience and things that they've made and just make everything fucking compound the message that they're trying to teach. You understand? So like when the guy who appears to be on top, right? I don't know anything of the story. I've never read it, right? But if I were to kind of spin my version of it, if I were to say that the guy on the top who controls the VR, everybody wants to be a part of that. He pulls a Willy Wonka. He says, "I'm going to give everybody a golden ticket." You know, you just got to find all the Easter eggs. So this kid's like mission in life is to find all the Easter eggs so he can own Willy Wonka's factory, basically, right? And at the end of the film, you just basically have to spin a narrative or a moral. Like, what do you want to teach people? You want to tell them, hey, like, you get everything that you want by working hard. That's one message, right? That's one good way of teaching people like a good narrative, right? Or you can do another one where the things that you think that you want, once you have them, you realize it's not what you wanted at all. And the way you convey that story is that you say everything in between, like all the stuff that he was trying to run away from, is all the things that he actually loves, but he just wasn't able to pay attention to it before. He was too distracted to his social class and what he believed was useful, you know, or was powerful, that he wasn't focusing on the here and now. Or your typical underdog story where everything sucks and he's working towards the working really hard to achieve what he's looking to have, right? There's a lot of subtleties in these narratives. Like, you know, there's a really good underdog story movie that I saw recently. It's called Warrior. Have you seen that one? You guys heard of it? So what was great about that one was it was same around the same premise of every other underdog story, but the problem, or not the problem, but the alternatives that they did here was that they made every character involved important. Like there was no bad guys again, right? There was like some people that they had to fight that were clearly just douchebags, right? They just put them in there just because it just makes a nice spectacle. But like the final fight is between the two brothers, and you kind of want both of them to win, you know? They both make good points about their lives, you know? They make good points about their story and their own missions in life, right? You don't want either one of them to fail, right? And when they have them fight at the end, it's one of the most intense and exciting moments of the movie because we have a situation where we don't want any of them to lose, but we were curious to see who does lose and who wins and how they handle it afterwards. It's a great mystery, you know? And so what I'm trying to say is like a lot of these films, what they do poorly is sometimes they focus way too much on the premise. And I'm telling you, premise I think is more shallow. And if you want to focus only primarily on premise because you can pull it off, there's ways to do that. Then you got to make the story, the beginning, middle, and end, really simple, like almost elementary, right? So then you can focus a lot of the effort on the spectacle. A good example of this would be like Avatar. All right, have you guys seen Avatar? Like Avatar is a pretty simple story. Like humans destroy the planet and it sucks, and it's like Pocahontas, right? But with aliens. And so that was a really simple premise. It wasn't trying to go more deeper than that, right? And so then they can focus a lot of the time like showing this really beautiful universe and wrapped around a very simple narrative that they can just follow very stereotypical expectations. But what really blows our mind is not so much what is going to happen next, it's what we're going to see next, you know? But when you try to do both, you want to try to spin like a crazy narrative and you want to try to spin a crazy visuals, I usually get cautious. So if I don't feel like they have a really simple message in the beginning of like a movie trailer of like a narrative and it's like highly visual, I get really skeptical that it's going to do well. You know? So I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. I'm only skeptical because of the trailer. That's it. But the trailer is the first trailer. That's why I said the third and fourth one. Usually the third and fourth one, they start pitching the plot. You know? They haven't done that yet. So I'm not giving any real criticism yet. I'm very skeptical, but I'm not hating on it. You know? Because, you know, people said that before, like, well, the book, bro, like the book. And then, you know, Ender's Game came out, and I'm like, that's all right. You know? And there's other examples of movies that came out based off of books. They're okay, even though people love the books. It's like you loving your book doesn't make this movie any better.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm sure the book's great. In fact, what I like about books versus films is books allow you to use your own imagination, right? And that's a lot of power there that movies and even video games can't even do, right? Because when they say something like, let's imagine in the book they say something like, and then this character flies with a motorcycle on fire, shooting lasers out of his eyes and all this stuff. You can be like, damn, that's dope. Like the way you see it in your mind, because there's no budget in your brain. In fact, this is probably why this movie took so long to make, based off of the book, because it probably was like so extraordinary, that what made it good maybe it was not because of its plot, but mostly because of how it really challenged people's imaginations, and that's totally fine, dude. But like maybe that book is better placed in a book, right? Because it's focused on the interactivity of the reader, right? And when you take that away from the reader, you give us all the visuals, then maybe it reveals that there was very little plot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I don't know though. It could be great. I'm actually encouraged that it might be great because Spielberg is behind it, right? I'm not saying that it's going to be amazing. It's going to change my life. I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. Spielberg is a pretty good storyteller, right? I think he gets that. He understands that you want to kind of hit people in the gut with a little bit of like of a message, right? He doesn't do it all the time, but he understands he needs to do it at some level, not to keep it completely absent-minded, right? And so, or maybe not. Maybe he's getting old and just forgot. I don't know. I still love Spielberg. He's a really good director. He's still made some of my favorite films. Like that doesn't change. So,
okay. I was gonna say I have an art question.
Yeah, go for it.
Kind of about like going back to thumbnails. So what's the best way to like elevate my thumbnails and I guess like the status they're in? Do I just keep working it, keep like experimenting?
The best way is to time yourself often
Okay.
and always try to yield more clarifying results. So I did this drawing in about 20 or 30 minutes.
Right.
So you can see there's a lot of clarifying design elements, like I didn't leave much to imagination. And that's what a thumbnail should do. And this is very challenging. So you just got to keep practicing that. You got to keep saying to yourself, okay, what can I do next? Well, how can I challenge more this this design aesthetic, And so I usually say, focus on the clarity, focus on what else is it, like timing yourself, focus on perfecting, some of your secondary skills like painting well, like all that stuff. But like all that stuff goes under the umbrella of just keep practicing. As you keep practicing, these types of things will reveal themselves.
Okay.
If you just keep stagnant, that's when you don't do it. I mean, you are a product of practice, right? Like I've seen it happen already. Like you had really mediocre thumbnails when we first started, and now your thumbnails are pretty good. Remember? So like, I feel like you kind of already know, and you've already kind of proved it to yourself. Okay.
That's true.
So you just got to not forget that it's really nothing has changed. You just got to.
Yeah, I just want to like know, like if there's another step maybe I'm like not seeing or like another tidbit of information.
Yeah, everybody's at different levels, so it's hard to just be like, you know what, this is, if you do this one thing, you'll immediately improve.
Right.
But like what you've done so far, I think is good. I think because I know you, that's why I gave you a little bit more specific of an answer. Like you just got to time yourself and be a little more effective with that. So I already kind of know that about you. So just do that more. Okay.
All right, for sure.
All right. I'll take one more question, then I'm gonna roll out, y'all. It's already super late. And I have to eat and I have to go get my shots in my butt.
Oh, nice. I just wanted to say goodbye because I have to go sleep because I have to get up at 4 a.m.
Sleep is for the weak.
Thank you for everything, and I'll
Sleep
disregard that.
is for the weak.
I have to drive a car at 4 a.m.
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, well, it was a pleasure, always.
Yeah, loved having you, and I'm looking forward to see more of your stuff and all that. And
thank you.
Yeah,
Ditto.
see you around.
Ditto. All right, sleep well.
Yeah, you too. Have a good time.
B12? What the?
Yeah, you're getting B12 shots?
Oh, me? No.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm getting shots to reduce my hormones because my hormones were crazy before. Remember, I had a tumor.
Oh, yeah. How
And
did
that's
that? How are the migraines like non-existent?
No, they come and go, but like this hormonal treatment is supposed to prevent me from having a tumor again, but more importantly, prevent me from having cancer. So you know, got to do it. Now, B12, I'm good on my vitamins. My vitamins are off the charts, yo. It's just my hormones are potentially dangerous. Yeah, I'll just kind of like take this as a time to say goodbye then. So I appreciate you guys. Hopefully, if you guys have more questions, again, you guys can always email me, text me, not text me, but message me via on the Discord. Yeah, man, absolutely. And I'm always around, so feel free to message me if you ever have any kinds of questions. I try to answer you guys, like I said, promptly. I'll send you guys a link into your Skype to the Zoom of the workshop this Monday. It's going to be around like 2 to 3 o'clock around that time. So be prepared if you'd like to join. Other than that, appreciate y'all. You guys have a great day, great weekend, and then remember to submit your final stuff next Friday.
Oh, one last thing.
Yeah,
so
man.
that website for our class videos, is that going to be available like forever?
Yeah, I highly recommend people download it because sometimes I make changes to the link of it, but I usually have access to all those videos. So just let me know. But yeah, you have it forever. I'm gonna basically send you the link to the Dropbox, and once you get that link, you can just download that everything and then have it and just keep it somewhere safe.
Okay, thank you.
But I will by next week sometime, early next week. All right. Peace out, y'all. Have a good one. Stay connected. Don't just be strangers. Like the Skype group will be here forever, so feel free to chat with one another if you like, or use the Discord. Find ways to communicate with other artists and improve. But peace out, friends. Talk to you later. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. Please subscribe to watch more in the future. If you like the video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. If you like this content, you can go to my website, robotpencil.net, where you can find mentorships, tutorials, and a Patreon to get more exclusive content. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys in my next videos.